Also, the the topic back to the mushing and that kind of thing. Keith Lee won the Bear Grease. Pete Kaiser just won the Kuskokwim 300 up there in Alaska. There's a couple remaining races. The Yukon Quest 450 or something like that. Wade Morris is up there, going to be mushing. Aaron Peck's going to be up there mushing. A couple people who have been knocking on the door on Iditarod, who with a lot of the top names not competing this year in the Iditarod 2023, one of these newcomers might squeak off a win. I think we're looking at Brent Sass is going to be a favorite to repeat. Dallas isn't out there. Mitch isn't going to be out there in terms of the CV kennel. Pete's had a lot of dominance out there in the Southwest Alaska, winning the Cusco again this year, his hometown race. But I think the question is it, like I mentioned before, does it take too much out of the dogs? Racing competitively, pushing the dogs, in terms of them holding back or just not being positioned, to execute when it comes to that 1,000-mile level. Obviously, again, same thing with Nick Petit. Is he going to be able to do anything in Iditarod, or did they take too much out of those dogs, in this mid-distance season? So, it's going to be interesting. I think also there's, again, a few remaining mid-distance races in the States as well as in Alaska, but we're really going into that final stretch, a month or so out, a little more of a month or so out to Iditarod. And, one of my things, I think that sort of the question that hangs in the air is I wish, Thomas Waerner has such an amazing dog team back before the pandemic. He won that race with the pandemic. He never really got a chance because Dallas was dealing with the drug scandal to go head to head with the CV kennel. Both of those kennels seem to have a big furry, almost a husky looking, gray husky looking dog. I don't know the specifics of the genetics of his kennel or anything like that, but I would have loved to have had that competitive matchup. I just wanted to mention, between like Thomas Waerner and Dallas Seavey when they were both in their prime, because Waerner had such a brilliant execution of his strategy that year. I think it was 2020, right during the pandemic, and it was an amazing, healthy, happy, big and furry, dog team that did some fun runs out there on Iditarod, and just with the pandemic, him being stuck in Europe, not being able to come back and compete again, that in terms of how we want sports, whether it's basketball or whether it's football or whether it's wrestling or boxing or dog mushing or anything, we want a competitive matchup. We want the star versus the star, especially at those the races that are the biggest races like Iditarod.